Hey guys, so today I'll be talking about the LeetCode problem maximum area of the island. So the problem states that we need to find an island which is basically a group of ones connected either horizontally or vertically, and we have to find the maximum area of such island. So simplifying the problem, it says something like let's say we have this so let's say we have a collection of zeros and ones. Let's say 0 0 1 1 0 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1 1 0. So the maximum area of the island will be along this line. So it's basically the like the continuous connection sequence of ones that we can find connected horizontally or vertically. So in this case it will be 5. But let's say we have something like this. We have a 1 here. In this case the maximum area will be 1 uh, because the only possible uh, maximum area will be like this, because we cannot connect this one with either horizontally or vertically with any other ones, so that this is like the maximum possible area of the eye. Yeah, and yeah, so in this case it will be 1. So coming to this problem, so there the approach that we have to take is like, so the approach is like we move through each of the elements, and whenever we find a 1, we mark this as visited, like we mark this as 0, so this will become 0, and then we traverse both in this direction if it has a upward direction and a lower direction. So we go in 4 directions mainly. So let's say for this case here, when we find a 1 here, we will just mark this as 0, go in the top and the right, left and the bottom direction. You might be hearing some dogs barking, so some dogs are barking outside. Sorry for that noise, but yeah, anyway, uh, so we mark this as 0 and go in all those 4 directions and start marking them as visited. And every time we visit a island or a 1, we increment, we will have a counter, which will increment. So first it will be 1, then it will be incremented by 1. And another thing, let's say we have certain numbers like this. Whenever we get one island, we mark them as 0. The reason like behind this is like whenever we mark 0 and corresponding all the other 1s that can be traversed from that island, we mark them as 0, so that whenever we get to this, let's say this element, we don't have to traverse it twice or thrice the same route. So for this route we don't have to traverse them again, so that's why we mark them as 0 and we ignored the 0 elements whenever we are trying to find the maximum area of an island. So that's basically the whole logic of it. And coming back to the code, so we will take our row which will be, let's say, grid dot length. Then we will have a column which is each row's length, and we will have, let's say, a count to keep a count of all the current number of islands and the maximum count of the islands. So we traverse the whole matrix. So let I to 0, I less than r, I plus plus, for let j equal to 0, j less than c, j plus plus. And what we do is, like, we take a helper function, let's say find max island, and we pass this I comma j in this, and all the implementation of the counters will, let's say, we'll do it in that find max island. After that, what we need to do is, like, make the counter to be 0, and another thing is, like, we have to take the max at each step to keep track of the maximum area of the islands that we have got till now, till the nodes visited, and it will be count comma max, and at the end we will return the max. For the helper function, let's say it's find max island, so it will take two values. It will take let's say I and a j. Let's keep it simple. So we have to take the corner cases. So before taking the corner cases, let's say whenever we find that it's a valid island point, we will just increment the counter, and after incrementing it, we will mark it as visited by saying that I comma j is 0. Then we will traverse in all the 4 directions. So find max island, take all the 4 directions, and one direction will be towards the right, one direction will be towards the left, one to the top, and the other to the bottom. So that's it. And one thing then we have to check for each function call in recursion, like whether it's a valid index or not. So if, let's say, if I is less than 0, or I is greater than equal to r, or let's say j is less than 0, or j is greater than equal to c, or let's say if the grid is already, if it's a water or it's already visited. So we will check, like, if grid I comma j is equal to 0. So this will implicitly mean that if it's checking if it's non-zero or not, and if it's so, if it's grid I comma j, yeah, it's grid I comma j is false, then return 5 comma j is, yeah, 5 comma j is Yeah, if it's positive, let's just make it 0, then it should return. So running the code, okay, it's accepted, so let's submit this, and it got accepted. It was successful. So just going through all over the code, we are taking the length and the width of the matrix, maintaining a count at each step, and then finding the max at each step, and then resetting the count to 0 in order to find the count of the islands in the next iteration. And in our helper function, we check whether the index pass is a valid index or not, and whether this means that whether this index is visited or if it's not an island. So we are checking that, because if it's visited or if it's not an island, then it cannot be considered as a part of an island, so we have to return that. And same for this edge cases, which are like if the index goes out of bound, and if it's a valid index, we increment the counter. And since count is like a global variable, if we increase the count here, we can access the count in this step in line number 12. So after that, we mark that grid as visited. So this is 0. I am putting it as an indication for a visited element, and we traverse the matrix in all the 4 directions from that given position, towards the right, towards the left, to the top, and to the bottom. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys enjoyed this video, please do give a like and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you.